Okay, guys, we are live, and we have done what we thought we were going to do, is win the game. 41 points was pretty nice. It felt really good. That third quarter was a little bit scary. Give,
Yeah,
gave them
like
some life.
you called it, Mike. We can't put four quarters together. 28-0 lead. We give them a field goal
Right.
with 1 second to go. So, and then they get the ball back. We stop them. Then we throw Baker throws the interception. He threw it behind Odell. I mean, there's no question about that.
Yep.
And then the defense sort of went to sleep and let them get play after play after play, and they breathed life right back into them. So.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the box score, you've got. I mean, we put a 14 and 14 in the first two quarters, which is amazing. And then they got that 3 points, that critical 3 points there at the end of the second quarter. Then they put up 14 in the third off of that interception. And then and we had a personal foul. Didn't we have a personal foul on the one with Mac? I think I wasn't really sure who it was, but I think it was on Mac Wilson for like the helmet hit on when he tackled the guy on third down. I think they called it on the wrong person on the field, but I think it was on Mac Wilson was the personal foul.
Yeah, it was a good tackle. It looked like it was a perfect tackle. Yeah.
Well, the Browns really did get quite a few breaks that game, I would say. That was one that, I mean, that the interception that Baker threw where we got a helmet to helmet contact.
Well, they said helmet to helmet, but you go back and look at the analysis where they said it doesn't necessarily have to be helmet to helmet. It was more defenseless receiver.
Yeah.
And he did, he was catching the ball, his hands were up in the air, and the guy just nailed him. So it's one of those calls that could go either way. And we got the break. Maybe it should have fallen he should have never put the ball in the air to begin with. He should have just ran the ball 2 more times, taken time off the clock, kicked the easy field goal, and the game is over. Why does Freddie Kitchens do that?
I don't know. I think that I don't know if he understands, or maybe I don't know what he's looking to do. Like, is he trying to score 50 points every time? Does he think that he needs to do that?
He was open. There was no question he was open, but why jeopardize an intercept? That's exactly what could go wrong. The ball could be tipped. Yep. The guy catches it. He ran 30, 40, 50 yards down the field. They finally got him. And that could have been the game changer. Fitzpatrick throws a touchdown and they're 8 points behind or 7 points behind. I mean, it's a 14 or a 10-point swing. I mean, Freddie Kitchens, come on, wake up a little bit. Play normal football.
Yeah. It was it really comes down to not being able to play put together 4 quarters. We put together 3 rock solid quarters today. I mean, putting up 13 in the fourth. Austin Seibert missing the field goal. There is a problem, guys. Kicking to that side of the field is a
it never goes straight through. Even
not
on
on that side.
Right.
On the other side, no problems.
Yeah. Somebody's leaving the door open or something, the wind, it's the open end of I don't know what it is, but you're right. Everybody has trouble kicking on that side, especially our guy now.
Yeah, that's very frustrating. Looking over the stats, though, for the game, I mean, really, really good, really good numbers for us. Baker Mayfield threw for 327. He was 24 for 34. He started off like red hot. He was like 20. I think he was 20 for 25. I mean, he was red hot. And then in that third quarter, he had a couple incomplete passes. He was also saved by some amazing catches today. Jarvis Landry on that last one where they scored the touchdown. Jarvis Landry going in with the one-handed catch somehow behind the defender, staying in bounds. Then the other one where they tried to say that he had offensive pass interference. Jarvis Landry, 10 receptions, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns, 13 targets. Odell, 6 receptions, 84 yards, a touchdown off of 8. Nick Chubb had himself a game, rushes for over 100 yards. Kareem Hunt gets his first touchdown as a Cleveland Brown, also adds 2 catches for 9 yards. on paper, this looked like a great game. And if I wouldn't have watched the game, I would have said, wow, what an amazing, exactly what we thought was going to happen game. But it got a little dicey there.
Well,
when you're at 28 and they're at 17, that is scary against a team that's got nothing to lose.
Right. And a guy who can bring them back with passes and whatnot. They just didn't have the talent. Our defense played okay, but as Max said on the chat, we missed Garrett.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no rush, and when we did get to him, he just stepped up, eluded, and he's not the most mobile quarterback. I mean, he's not quick either.
No.
So I mean, we got him once because he dawdled too much in the backfield, but a guy like Lamar Jackson would eat our lunch.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they were thinking is like, hey, let's make Fitzpatrick beat us on the ground. I hope that's what they were thinking. But I sat there, and when I was watching the play where he ran in from about the 7-yard line, and I sat there, I was like, there's nobody in the middle. There's nobody.
Where is Schobert? Russell Wilson, it reminded me of the Russell Wilson touchdown.
Yep.
He abandons the center because he wants to drop back and cover somebody. Mm-hmm. But that's somebody else's job. His job is to protect the middle of the field. And when you let a guy like Fitzgerald run, 12, 13 yards, whatever it was, or Fitzpatrick, I mean, that's terrible. I mean, where was he? He wasn't even in the picture.
Yeah. And it wasn't the only time where Fitzpatrick ran for, let me look at the stats. Fitzpatrick was their leading rusher. He rushed for 45 yards.
Yeah.
We let 37-year-old Ryan Fitzpatrick run for 45 yards.
They could not run the ball at all on us. Not at all. That even without Miles was pretty good. But then they didn't have a running game anyway. They were terrible.
They're on the ground were absolutely god awful. Patrick Laird had three rushes for 20 yards just because they threw him in and kind of did those little handoff plays. Right. I mean, it was nothing big. I mean, we shut him down on the ground.
Right.
The one guy who was dangerous, Devontae Parker, had 6 catches for 91 yards and off of 11 targets. So he did what Devontae Parker does. Apologize for the dog noise in the back. I mean, it was a pretty good game altogether. Fitzpatrick threw 2 interceptions, almost had a fumble loss as well, but he got a fumble that I guess he recovered himself. But yeah, I mean, I think we got. If I think back to the game, our first half was the best first half of football I have seen the Cleveland Browns play in 20 years.
Right.
Period.
They got a lot of breaks.
Yes.
And they made some great catches and some good play calling, good defense. Obviously stifled them.
Yep.
It should have been 28-0 at halftime. They shouldn't have given up the 3 points. And he made it they made it long enough on that play just before the field goal that he didn't have to really kick it from 58 yards. They would have had a 4th and 5th and had kick it from 58. Would have never made it. But no, they made 12 or 13 yards. And then he kicked, I don't know what it was, a 30-yard field goal, 32-yard field goal, whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
And he made it.
No, it was a 40-yard. It was 40 yards.
40 yards, but he made it.
Yeah, and it was right down the middle, and it was to the side of the field. It doesn't have really weird wind issues. So It was altogether, it was...
No, he made it to the field, he made it to the hard side.
No, that last field goal, they were coming this way.
No, the first half.
Oh.
At the end of the first half.
Oh, their kicker.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He made it, and if Fitzpatrick doesn't make a 13-yard pass or whatever, then he has to kick a 52, 56. Maybe they don't even kick it, but yet the kid made it, into the bad direction, and we're up 28-3. Nobody cares.
Right.
Move on, type of thing. So.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, let me go back to. I'm going to look over the scores. So we had 41. Did anybody... Okay, X-Men Avenger said we were going to do 42, but he was way off on the Dolphins score. Typical Gamer said he picked 35-10. That's pretty close. Let's see who else is up there. Kyle Lou, 34-14. That's pretty good. X-Men Avenger, 34. No, let me see. I'm going to have to do a little bit of math here. But... Mick the dog was pretty close too, 28-17. I think if they wouldn't have got that garbage touch, nobody thought they were going to score over 20. So, I am incorrect. That we have a winner. Sandman Huffmaster predicted 45-24.
Wow.
And that is pretty darn close.
Absolutely.
So that's he was within 5 points on both sides. So good job, Sam. Is Sandman in the live stream? Is anybody? Let me know if Sandman's in here. If not, you got to come back to get your. There he is, Sandman Huffmaster. You win. That's Sandman. You win. What does he win? He wins the poncho. Win the poncho. Sandman, if you're listening, send me an email with your address to...
Steelers got by Cincinnati 16-10. I didn't see the end of the game, but I got a tape, so Cincinnati was in it all the way up to the end.
Well, I heard that Mason Rudolph in the game got benched as well.
Oh, really? Yeah, I saw him on the bench at the end. I don't know who got him the 16. It was, and I think they must have missed the extra point because it was 16-10 last I saw. That was the final.
Yeah, looking at the standings right now, looks like the Bills are very much in the driver's seat right now. They're 8-3 for the wild card. We're in the hunt. We got to be able to beat the Steel. We got to win out really to be able to do it. If we can do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can't afford another. As Freddie Kitchen told them before the game, every game from now on is a playoff game. So if we lose one of them, we're out. So we cannot take anyone lightly. They're certainly not going to take the Steelers lightly. It'll be interesting. I want to go back and watch the Steelers game to see where Rudolph did at the end there, because there'll be a little controversy if he's not the starting quarterback come next week, right? We play them next week.
Yeah, so, we play them next week, December 1st. And it's going to be a 1:00 game. It was a 4:00 game. Looking at the Bengals game here, I'm just going to look at the box score on this one. It looks like Delvin Hodges did come in. Delvin Hodges from Stanford. He's a rookie.
Right.
He came in. He goes 5 for 11, 1 touchdown, and
so he came in. Yeah. Okay. So he scored the winning touchdown. So
he must have thrown it. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see whether he starts, and if he does, it'll make it a little bit better in that, we got a rookie back there, not even Rudolph back there.
Yeah.
If Rudolph's back there, well, then obviously any sack that he takes is going to be, heightened and made more of, especially if it's a late hit or something like that. But it's interesting that they would bench him like that. Maybe
he was 8 for 16 for 85 yards and an interception
against Cincinnati.
That is really bad. They've got a pretty rough time right now. They didn't have Juju and they didn't have Connor, and now they don't have him.
Connor didn't play.
No, Connor was out as well.
Wow.
So Connor might be back for the Browns. Juju might be back for the Browns, and so we'll see. I mean, I think that they wanted to get past Cincinnati with keeping their guys alive, and I think they did a pretty decent job of that, I guess. I mean, they snuck by him. The Steelers just here. I was having a conversation via text with one of the guys, one of my friends during the game, and I think the biggest point here is I really still to this day do not think the Browns know how to win. I think they've been winning, but I think that Freddie's got to start looking at it like from a strategy perspective and go, hey, with 7 minutes left in the game, why are we throwing the ball?
Right.
Just run the damn ball out. The clock is as much of an opponent at that point as anything. At the end, if you can run the clock out, if you can run another couple minutes off, you're putting the pressure on these guys, and they're going to have to throw. And when they have to throw, good things happen. Look, Fitzpatrick has balls that are deflected, or he throws just a random touchdown. That garbage touchdown that they got at the end was pretty terrible.
Yeah, but it was wide open too. I mean, they rushed 3 guys or 4 guys at the most, and he had all day back there, and they're dropping 7 or 8, and when you give them that much time, somebody's got to be wide open eventually.
Well, I mean, we did have a problem getting to Fitzpatrick. I will say that Fitzpatrick was pressured, and when he was pressured, he made bad decisions. But we did have a problem getting there. So that is
we definitely missed Miles. I mean, even though he doesn't get there, he puts enough pressure on. He gives other people opportunities that they wouldn't have. He gets double teamed. I think we would have. I don't think they would have scored if we had had Myles Garrett normal. I don't think they would have scored today based on how they played, because he would have put the pressure on. They would have never been able to do what they did. So he is an influencer. He doesn't take over the games, but he certainly is. His presence is missed, as well as the other guy who was out today too.
Ogunjobi.
Yeah. So
it's funny. I'm looking at the Browns regular season and just looking at the high, like whoever's their high receiver, and it's been Beckham. It's been Beckham, Landry, Beckham, Landry. Like, I mean, clearly we're throwing to wide receivers and they're catching touchdowns and they're catching the ball. I think both of them are having pretty decent seasons. If you look from a statistic standpoint, I mean,
what was the balance today, Micah, between passes and runs by us?
That's a good point. Let's take a look.
We threw the ball way more than we should have had to.
Yes, we threw quite a bit. We threw the ball 34 times, and we ran the ball 28 times.
Well, it's close.
Yeah. So, not bad. Nick Chubb had 21 carries for 106 yards, averaged 5, got a touchdown, had as long of 17. It's great. I'm actually happy that Kareem Hunt got a touchdown. I felt that he was going to have a good game today. I started him in my fantasy league because he's been pretty consistent with catching the ball, getting little screen passes. He did drop one that Baker kind of missed him off to the right. But Nick Chubb had a pretty good game catching the ball too. He put 58 yards catching off of those 3 catches as well, starting off the game with that big screen pass, getting him, which, I mean, there was a guy right in Baker's face.
Right.
So that was a scary way to start off the game, but we executed, and that is the good thing.
We had a lot of good slants over the middle to people at key points in the game. So Higgins, non-factor. I don't think he caught a pass, did he?
No, he did not. They threw to him one time. But he had one target, no catches. That one pass where Baker just missed him in the end zone, I think it was deflected a tiny bit.
Right.
So he may have come down with it. It looked like it still went.
That would have been 2 passes and 2 touchdowns in 2 games.
Yeah.
But I expect more out of Higgins than that. So that was disappointing.
We're just really not using a whole lot of other players on offense. The occasional tight end gets a catch. I know that we threw 1 at Ricky Seals, 2 to Demetrius Harris, 1 to Stephen Carlson, but really it's the Jarvis and Odell show. Right. Those are the guys. If you can stop them, you're gonna have a good chance. But you got to be able to stop both of those guys and Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. And next week we get David Njoku back finally. So another big weapon that we get with. Just unfortunately that we lost him for the season. I mean, we really lost David Njoku for the season. Who knows what would have happened if we would have had him in there? Who knows if we would have had that extra weapon?
Absolutely.
But I really do. I think that's the frustrating thing about the Browns. Even as exciting as scoring 41 points was there are still very questionable plays. And that is it's going to be interesting to go back and look at the Fire Freddie Kitchens conversation, the hashtag Fire Freddie. I want to go back and look. Now that we've won 3 straight games, it's going to be really nice.
Yeah, I would think that's not part of the equation anymore, but still, how many other coaches would have thrown that ball that got intercepted at the end of the game with us up 2 touchdowns?
Right.
And we only need a field goal in the easy part of the field. He's on the 15-yard line or whatever. With 2nd down. How many other quarterbacks? I don't care if you got Brady, Rodgers, Rosenberger. I don't care who you got as your quarterback. All it takes is one lineman to put his paw up and deflect the pass. And Baker's not going to quit. Baker's going to try to throw it in there into a tight window. And he overled this guy just a hair. Not that he would have caught it anyway, because I think he just got creamed after the ball was in his hands and it was going to come out anyway, I think. But still, you run the ball, you take another 45 seconds off the clock, then maybe you run it again. I don't know if that was third down or not. I can't remember. I have to go back and look. And then you kick the easy field goal and you're up by 3 scores.
Yes. That's the part that is frustrating, because all of us at home are going, get up by 3 scores. I mean, that is, you have to overcome that. Now, granted, they did have 17 unanswered points at one point in the game. They did.
Yeah.
But that's because we were playing some really questionable. We threw that interception. It was a high risk play. Now, and that was on Baker as well, as we mentioned before. He threw it behind him. Odell did his best to turn around, but that one was on Baker.
Absolutely.
And I think that I will say that I think the first half of the defense played amazing, but and they kept mentioning it on like Daryl Johnston kept mentioning the lull, and I was sitting there too. I'm like, we have to be able to keep our foot on the gas the entire time.
If we were only winning 14-0, and all of a sudden now we're losing 17-14,
and that's typically how it had gone. The fact that we were able to score 4 touchdowns, we went into the red zone and actually converted and got to the end zone, and we were gifted some as well. We had some gifts because we had a couple third downs that we got pass interference. It seemed like the refs were definitely hypersensitive towards pass interference on the Dolphins side. Every time Jarvis or Odell was looking and went like this, they seemed to throw the flag. Right. And then on defense on the other side, Greedy Williams has really got to. I don't know what he's got to do, but he's got to do something better than the illegal hands to the face and the pass interference stuff. Like he's got to stop that. Now I will give him one though. The pass to Devontae Parker that was on the left, that was going up the left side of the field, and Greedy grabbed him. I don't think Greedy had any safety help. Right. So I'd rather give up 15, 20-yard pass than a potential home run. So, but defend it,
Right.
So
Ward played a pretty good game. Nice tackle at the beginning of the game. Came up and 3 and out. The Browns were playing some pretty good defense even without Miles and Okeechobee. So
Sheldon Richardson played well too, and Lawrence right in the middle. I mean, they ate up the middle. They did not run the ball at all.
Yeah, and Schobert, he got the 1 interception. He played, I guess, a pretty good game.
Two interceptions.
2 interceptions. But, to let Fitzgerald run untouched to the end zone in a critical part of the game, I mean, you have to stay home in that situation. I just didn't get that at all.
Yeah, that's a frustrating thing. I think, was it 2 interceptions or 1? I'm looking. Hold on a second. From a stat perspective. Regular season interception event. Maybe it was only 1. I'm looking, because how many did he throw? Fitzpatrick threw 2, and I thought they were both to Schobert. I believe they were. Chat, keep me honest there. But yeah, I would agree. Mick the Dog says Wilson played well. I also want to give a shout out to everybody who's in chat here today with us. Guts, Typical Gamer, Jonathan Schlegel, Esquire, Max Nikolenko, Mitch Cox, Kyle Liu, 21 Eric Walters, Harry LaFontaine, Kova. Let's see, Richard Christmas. Let's see who else we got here. Anybody? Coral Ross is back. What's up, Coral? Chad Frazier. We've got anybody else who's new in here. Scrolling down a little bit. That may be all the.
The other thing that still makes me mad, still gets my goat, is receiving the kickoffs on 1 yard in the end zone or whatever.
Right.
And they get to the 15-yard line or they get to the 20.
Yeah, it's basically a penalty.
Yeah. Take it
Dolphins,
on the 25. If you have to come up and receive the ball on the 3, 4, 5 yard line, then you go with it.
Yeah.
But if you're at the end zone, just let it go, take it on the 25, and let's go from there.
We've had one good return all year.
Yeah, right. One. These are not return guys. They're there to protect the ball. And God forbid we would have fumbled one of those by getting hit by somebody coming full steam, and we give them the ball on the whatever yard line. You know, I mean, we got a gift on one of the fumbles by Fitzpatrick, I think. So, or one of their guys. So, I mean, we got the breaks. There was really, you know, who was it said X-Men Avengers? Yeah, the Bronco game really hurt. That is true. If we had that win under our belt against that rookie quarterback, what would we be? We'd be 6-5, right?
Yeah, and as Daryl Johnston said too, you know, the Seattle game, we didn't get beat by Seattle. We lost the game. We beat ourselves in that game. So if you go back to the losing streak that we had there for a while, 49ers, they killed us. I don't know what it was. We threw up, you know, in our shoe. Seahawks was a winnable game. That was the time during the season where we just decided we don't know how to win games. And nothing was clicking yet other than coming off the Ravens game. The Ravens was still the most complete game, but I would still argue was not a complete 4 quarters of the game.
But we didn't play bad when we didn't play well in a quarter. We didn't just go to sleep and let them come back from, you know, 17 straight points like we did against the Miami today. So, but so I would point to that one as our best game. You know, this was a weak team. We had everybody predicted we would win this game and win big, which we did.
Yep.
And we just kept them in it a little bit longer than we should have because, like you said, we went to sleep in the middle of the third quarter, from the beginning of the third quarter and it was really disappointing for Austin to miss that field goal. He makes that field goal, and we negate the touchdown that they just got. You know, we turn it into 4 points instead of 7.
Yeah.
And then by missing it, it just puts them right back in the game. Everybody's heads down. It could have been a game changer in a negative way. But then the kid comes back and he kicks 2 right down the middle, you know, going the other way. So.
Yeah, I still think Austin Siebert is a very solid kicker. He's young, but much better than what we had previously had. And I think he's also somebody that we can. Hey, what's up?
Another victory.
Good job.
I think I heard it.
Good.
And did the Browns win?
Browns won.
Got it. Another victory.
All right. Well, guys, I want to say we have some family here, so I got to cut this a little bit short, so I got to run. But hey, congratulations to Sandman for getting the poncho. Send me the email. I'll get this out to you. Kyle, I'm going to get your oven mitt and pot holder out to you as well. So I got to do a little bit of shipping coming up here. I'll try to get that out tomorrow. I have a light week from work, at least no traveling or anything like that. So I should be able to get that out to you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Enjoy it. Watch some good football. Hopefully some teams will back up and give us a little bit better chance. The Raiders lost today, so that helped our cause a little bit. So every little bit helps. But next week is going to be a huge game, both mentally and physically. And obviously, it's going to determine whether we can continue to march towards the playoffs.
If we get past the Steelers and we can win that game, which I think is a very winnable game, even without Myles Garrett, it's still a very winnable game because we will have a Njoku back, so we'll have another offensive weapon, and our defense played pretty well today. So I think and Cincinnati gave him a good game. So the Steelers are in a really weird spot. I think some of their weapons are going to be back, though. I think they might have Connor back, and they'll probably have Juju back because I think Juju was out for the concussion. So he may be back too. We'll see. And then Cincinnati, and then the next 2 games are the scary ones because who knows what will happen against the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. You know, if statistically before this game, Kyler Murray was having a better season than Baker Mayfield, and nobody would have ever thought that Kyler Murray was going to be statistically better than Baker at this point in the season.
Even the Redskins won today with their rookie quarterback. They beat somebody. I can't remember. Denver or somebody like that.
Well, we are. If I go to standings, I was just going to show me the playoff standings. They flashed it up there.
They beat the Lions, but the Lions didn't have what's his name? Their quarterback. He's out with a bad hip. I think he's gone for the season. So their backup must not be very good because they only scored a couple of points. It was what was the game? 1916. So,
and they did say that there's only one team that started off 2-6. The 1970 Cincinnati Bengals did it.
Right.
So it's not like it's never been done before. It's been done once.
Yeah,
Very odd.
Right.
Well, we have right now we're 5-6. We are in 10th place in the American Football Conference. So in terms of where we stand, Buffalo's looking real good in their division or for the first wild card. Then you've got the Steelers at 6-5, the Raiders at 6-5, the Colts at 6-5, the Titans at 5-5, and us at 5-6. So we go 6-6 next week, and the Steelers would be 6-6, and we would get ahead of them because of the head-to-head. So I'm not sure what the other tiebreakers are, but if we beat the Steelers next week, guys, the season is still alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazingly, we figured out how to keep the season alive even after losing to the Broncos. So, and that's just a testament. So when I look at the schedule next year, it's going to be really hard to throw any automatic wins on there other than maybe the Dolphins again or maybe the Bengals. We'll see. But everybody else, it's any given Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Look at another disappointing team has got to be Atlanta. Atlanta wins last week big, and then they come in and they lose big 35-22 against the Buccaneers at home. At home they lose. I mean,
they're 3-8 and terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've kind of fallen apart. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. You know, is it regime change time for those guys? Is Matt Ryan going to stick around? I don't think Matt Ryan's had a bad year.
Who do the Raiders play next week?
Oakland Raiders play the Chiefs.
Oh, good. So they could lose again.
They have a tough road. The Raiders do. They got the Chiefs, then the Titans, the scrappy Titans. Then they've got the Jags at home, scrappy Jags, at the Chargers, at the Broncos to end their season. I mean, I feel like with the Raiders, they could go either way, these games. So I think the Raiders are probably going to end up somewhere around 9-7, maybe even 8-8.
And the Bengals play the Jets, and the Jets creamed somebody today. They beat the Raiders, so they could be 0 and whatever by the time we get to them. And hopefully, if we get past the Steelers, we won't have a letdown.
If we would have played,
luckily it's at home.
If we would have played the Seahawks, the Titans now versus, and let's say that we would play the Broncos, we played the Broncos now versus when we played them. I think also if we would have played the Dolphins earlier in the season, so we would have beat up on the Dolphins earlier in the season, build up some stats, build up some confidence, just like the Ravens did. Right? Beat up on the Dolphins and maybe the Bengals once earlier in the season, and then play the Titans and the Broncos much later in the season when we have all cylinders rolling. I think it might be different, but you still have to take care of business in the games.
Hunt is 3-0 with us. He's been a big factor, even though he hasn't dominated or anything. Just the fact that he's on the field, they got to watch him. It gives a Chubb a breather. Put them both on the field at the same time. But run the damn ball, Freddie. Run the damn ball.
We are a running team with a passing identity.
Sure, right.
That's what it is. And
Freddie's
got to realize that. But I will tell you at this point, Kareem Hunt, and I've been waiting for this all season, Kareem Hunt makes us an extremely dangerous team. Because if you go from Nick Chubb to Hilliard, it was a pretty big
drop off.
Big drop. Sure. It goes from like top running back in one of the top running backs in the league to like
they play
average.
Off each other,
and then you get Hunt in. You could put both of them in there and throw little swing passes to one of them or the other one, or that opens up other. So and then you got play action. You're sucking Kareem Hunt. I know that he's going to be a restricted free agent, And so we can sign him. We can keep him, right? So we can keep Kareem Hunt for 1 more year. But I got to tell you, unless Kareem Hunt wants to stay in Cleveland, and we figure out a way next year to feature both of them, because Kareem Hunt's not going to sit around and be like, all right, I'm going to play second fiddle to Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt wants to be a feature back as well. So we're going to have to figure out a way for both of them to carry the load, like Biner and Mack back in the day, like Leroy Horde and Vardell and Eric Metcalf back in the early 90s. It's going to have to be, they're going to have to carry the load.
Right.
And we'll see if we can afford that from a salary cap perspective, but are they going to not have the egos and do that? Because Kareem Hunt is going to be worth a lot of
money, right?
Oh, he's going to be very valuable. And it might even be like I don't know how exactly the restricted free agent thing works. If we say like, hey, we'll give you Kareem Hunt, but it's got to be a first round offer, we get a first round pick for it. I don't even think that's worth it. I think we need more than a first round pick at this point if somebody wants Kareem Hunt. So anyway, hey guys, thank you very much for watching this show. Browns win. We are now 5-6, and we control. Well, our destiny is ours. If we go 10-6, there's a really good chance we're making the playoffs. If we go 9-7, probably not.
Right.
The Bills would. 9-7 teams make the playoffs, but probably got to go 10-6, and even then, it's not guaranteed.
Absolutely.
So. Big game next week. Guys, thanks for watching. Also, everybody who's left, homage.com. Go to Homage. Use promo code Brownie. They've been a proud partner, sponsor, whatever you could say, of the show, giving us a bunch of free stuff. So I really appreciate it. Go there. Tell them that you love Brownie Postgame, and that's why you're buying their stuff. I really, really appreciate that. Helps us a ton. So, guys, thank you very much. Dad,
Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Go Browns.
Go Brownies.